Hi, I'm Chef Leo.
Hi, I'm Chef Theo, and this is The Confessions of a Private Chef. Season 1, Episode 4, The Art of Food.
All right.
Hey, how you doing, Chef?
I'm amazing today. I'm doing great.
You have a good weekend?
Had a great weekend, man. Got some work done. Took a little trip to San Antonio. Ate some nice Asian cuisine. And doing all that. And my first week of being on the diet actually showed improvement. Dropped like 6.5 pounds. So it's like not bad. I really enjoyed everything I ate this past week.
Nice. You're telling me about a new breakfast thing you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, this morning I'm doing this version of tacos. Not really taco. It's low carb flour tortilla drenched in black beans and eggs topped with just cholula. So it's like a breakfast enchilada version, but with beans. So pretty damn good, man. It's like fucking enjoyed it.
Hell yeah.
What about you? How was your weekend, man? I mean,
did good. We the restaurant was it was pretty busy this weekend. We had a good weekend, good turnout. Two of the nights for dinner, so Friday night and Saturday night, I think they had a pretty good turnout for dinner, and lunch was pretty steady. But other than that, just doing the family thing, and
Yeah.
I had to do a late night brake job on Friday night.
Brake on your vehicle?
On my vehicle, yeah.
Oh.
I've been putting it off for a little while, but finally broke down and had to get it done. So, it's kind of like from my personal self, it was a little bit of a push, but it's one of those things where we get so busy, we just get so wrapped up into our work and we forget, some of the little stuff that needs to get done and
the maintenance.
Yeah.
You got to do it, man. 'Cause, I mean, at the end, it's going to cost you more if you don't take care of that shit.
Exactly.
So it's like, stay on top of that.
Also, what a great feeling when you get it done, too.
And then you do it yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. I am not a mechanic, man. I hate working on vehicles. And it's funny because I can get dirty, like working in the yard, sweating in the kitchen, grease, all over me. But as soon as I get that car grease on me,
it sucks.
And then like the dirt and gravel when you're laying on the ground or on your knees, it's just a totally different feeling. And then the sand pounding on you, it's it sucks balls.
Yeah, it was, well, fortunately, I guess the upside was I didn't have the sun to deal with because I was doing it in the middle of the night. So I was using like this ring light camera, or it's made for like the phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So I plugged it in and, cause I live out in the middle of nowhere. It's really dark out there. And so I'm using this ring light to try to get it done, it's like super late, but no, dude. And for me, it's always like when you're doing any of these kind of jobs, it's the fact that when you take it apart, are you gonna be able to put it back together again?
Yeah, I know. I love taking pictures of every step of the way, but
exactly.
You're kind of doing it with the ring light. It's like you do filming some type of YouTube thing, but I need pictures too.
Luckily, I wasn't filming. I just like needed the light, and I had no other light, but but it was one of those things. It's about being, dad and husband and all that, trying to get all my, my end of the bargain done.
Yeah. Gotta get shit done, man.
Gotta get shit done.
That's right. Well, good.
So anyways, I had a question. Did you see Post Malone went country?
I did, but did he go totally country? He's still doing his thing, right? Or is he just doing country?
No, I think it's completely country now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I saw that. I wasn't sure what to think of it at first. It's funny because his body language to me when he was singing it, he kind of, I don't know, it just didn't look like it fit at first to me. And then he'd sang, and it's like, okay, it sounds country. Does it sound like old country that I love? Like George Strait, Garth Brooks, Waylon Jennings. No, but it's a lot better than Beyonce's stuff, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure.
That's not country.
Yeah, I saw this video on Instagram, and he was at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. He was singing some old country song. I can't remember which one it was. I'll have to look it up later, but he was killing it. I was like, dude, this is cool. How and the fact that, and I guess it's kind of on topic for the art side of this episode, which is a great artist can like pivot.
Totally. And to be a great artist, I think you have to like always think outside the box and try new things.
Exactly.
And experiment, because you never know.
You just never know,
You just
man.
might hit it.
Exactly. No, which is another thing I was thinking about. The whole art side of the kitchen is the music that plays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are you a fan of listening to music
Totally.
while you cook?
Yeah, I have a little JBL speaker that I take everywhere with me when I cook. So the first thing I do is, I'll break it out and ask my clients, hey, what do y'all like to listen to? It's like normally the answer is whatever you like, whatever you listen to. I don't want to be playing Dr. Dre, when I'm prepping it, and the customer, and the guy's like randomly, or Eminem, and you know how the lyrics are.
Yeah.
So is it appropriate? No, but it can be depending on who you're cooking for.
For sure.
This past week, I cooked for some friends from high school, which was really cool. I hadn't seen her in a while last year. She bought a gift certificate for her in-laws, and so they loved it, and she decided she was going to do something for her and her girlfriend. So asked them if they had music. If not, broke mine out, and we started playing some Warren G, man, right off the bat.
Oh, dude, Warren G.
Yeah,
Wow.
Regulate, and it was like it's my friend Wendy Collier. So it was really fun to, the girls were just throwing down. They knew all the lyrics. Went from Warren G to Dre, from Dre, I think we went to George Strait. So I mean, we're all over the place, but totally, that's how I am. And I listen to just about everything. And so there's not certain. I don't listen to banda, music like that with the tubas and the stuff. And I never liked that, but everything else, I'm open to. What about you, man? What do you?
No, dude, I think that's cool. I always listen to, when I'm cooking with people, I love to listen to all kinds of music and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was with this group of dudes. We were working at this restaurant here in town, and we created a really cool bond. But one of the guys was really into electronic music.
Mm-hmm.
So he turned me on to some like Skrillex, and he turned me on to this other DJ that we used to listen to all the time. I can't remember the name of the guy exactly, but maybe it was Millennium. It was called this guy named Millennium. Very epic themed music. But then the other guy would come in and we would turn on Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah.
Sports, deluxe. Yeah. And so we listened to a lot of the old, like that's what me and Casey are a little bit closer in age. So we listen to like some 80s music sometimes, or maybe some harder rock or something like that. And, but Nathan, the younger guy, he was one of the ones into electronic music.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. My brother-in-law is the same way, man. He loves a little bit of everything, but his electronic stuff, it's like, I normally don't listen to that, but if you play it, there's something about it, man. It's just catchy and it just gets you going, man.
For sure. We had so when I worked at A&M, we worked with this crew of guys that would come from LA, and every day when we would start cleaning the kitchen, one of the guys would put on a Mac Miller song, and it was kind of like it was like the cue that we knew. It's like everybody in like unison would start when we'd hear the song. It was like, oh, it's time to break down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this great song. It's called Jet Fuel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, by Mac Miller.
Yeah.
And rest in peace, Mac. But
I'll check it out. I don't think I've heard it.
Yeah, no, he's got some good stuff, dude. Again, he died too young, but
most of them do, man. Most.
Yeah.
Great talent.
We listen to a lot of him. I like a lot of Gary Clark.
Yeah, I love Gary Clark, man.
He's got some wild stuff. I love his live albums.
Oh yeah, just the licks on the guitar. I'm like,
dude, he is a virtuoso for sure. And then I listen to this other band called Goose, and it's just like jam music. But these guys that also, I mean, they'll just go on a 25-30 minute tangent of just guitar solos and drum solos, and so not a whole lot of singing per se. So it's good music just to kind of work to, because you're not having to like process any words.
Totally. No, I love music. I grew up playing music, and so for me, I listen to music more than I've ever listened to anything else. Like podcasts, this is new for me. So never sat down, listened to one whole podcast thing, which is funny because here I am doing it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's music. That was my thing.
Now, when I'm working by myself and I'm getting a lot of stuff done, I will listen to podcasts or audiobooks because it just like helps me focus for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, music helps me focus. But I'm thinking I'm gonna try the podcast thing
Yeah.
just because I do need to be exposed to a little bit of that now that we are doing this. But no, man. I mean, I think music in the workplace is a must.
Oh, cool. Definitely. And I can see how that's a lot of fun. Like when you're cooking for a group of people that you may not know, and all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, you guys got a problem with Chronic 2000?" And they're, some bachelorettes and like, "No, put that on," and all of a sudden the ice is broken, you know?
I am creating these playlists like for my bachelorette parties for more sophisticated dinners and, so.
Well, I mean, it really adds so much to the, I also like a lot of like, sometimes I'll, if it's like early in the morning and I'm doing coffee and I'm making breakfast or something like that, I like Thelonious Monk. So like more of like a jazz kind of thing going. Yeah. But no, I think music and the kitchen go hand in hand.
Totally.
I think it's a big part of creating.
Right. It really does help you, not necessarily through the concentration and relax, the relaxation part of it, but it just inspires you sometimes too. It inspires how are you going to play it sometimes. You're listening to, you're listening to a little bit of rock or heavy, something a little. You tend to look at your dish afterwards, and it's like it's a little bit messier. It's creative
for sure.
It's I used to always tell whoever my assistant or my sous chef was helping me. It was like there's beauty in imperfection. To me, it's the more imperfection there is in a plate. Sometimes it's just the natural beauty comes through and just helps that plate looks a lot more sexier. Just creates more depth and the look and feel that translates later to how it also tastes as well.
For sure. Are you one of those people who less is more when it comes to plating, or do you find yourself?
No, I find it's balance for me.
Balance.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's got to be it's like an image. It's got to be balanced. It's called the rule of thirds in images in art, to where if you see something, it's hardly ever centered. So for instance, here on my screen, if you look at we have our self-portrait here for the logo, right? Confession of a Private Chef on top. Everything, 1/3 of the image, which should be the top third, that's where it's heavier, leans heavier. There's empty space all the way around, but it creates a nice balance to the image. For sure. That space and what's occupied. So you look at any artist, any composition, that's the way it's laid out. And I feel like a plate is my plates are like that and should be in order to, create something beautiful in my eye. But, beauty's in the eye of the beholder,
in the
right?
eye of the beholder.
And everything is subject to,
For sure.
So that's how I plate and how I like plating, so I'm not necessarily just looking down at a plate, but also the height, looking at it from, you squat down a little bit more and looking to see, hey, does it look right in height? Like salads, you want your salad to be. Depending on the type of salad, of course, that you're doing. You're doing a citrus salad most of the time. It's laid out flat. But yeah, I mean, that's how I like to do it. That's how I see. What do you see in it? How do you see it?
I think plating for me was something that no. Yes, I feel like I definitely see myself, as I progress a little bit more in my career, I get a little bit older, I feel like my approach later where I will arrive one day will be less is more. But for so long, a lot of what I've done in food, up until coming to Fredericksburg, which I have done a lot of restaurants here in Fredericksburg, but up until coming here, a lot of my knowledge and what I do has been mass prep. So, they had a nickname for me and my friends when we were at A&M. We were the weapons of mass production. So I'm talking about, 80 gallons of cheese sauce at once, or, we had to go cook off, 300 pounds of pasta in a tilt skillet, So a lot of mass preparation and a lot of high volume cooking. And when I came here, and even with the dining dude, we were pushing out mass. It's all everything was in these pans, and it's created for family meal style. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but since I've been here, I've been having to focus a little bit more on plating, being in restaurants, and doing private dinners for people and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna lie, it definitely has been a challenge for me, and it's something I think about a lot, and I'd love to hear your idea of it with this whole thing about the way you lay it out in your mind, kind of, and you see it in this way.
Yeah, and the way I was taught in culinary school was always approaching it with an idea, of course, that you have coming in, and then we draw it out. So drawing out your plate, either however if you're going to draw it out flat from looking top down or three quarters or however you felt more comfortably drawing your sketch. You would draw out the plate the way you visioned it in your head, and
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes we'd color it, sometimes not, and then we reproduce it on an actual plate. So that was the way that they taught me. Um, I, as an being an artist first, prior to being a chef, I saw everything visually. I mean, I did everything in my mind prior to, and so it'd go from my mind to my hands, and then to the plate, or to the canvas, or to in the studio we're sitting, the building. I don't have blueprints for this thing, man. Everything was in my head,
And you just made it
and
happen.
I would do the math on paper, and it's like, okay, this is the math. This is how I have to, cut or separate things, and I would just make it happen, like you said. So it's the same thing with the plate. If I knew that I was going to have a pasta dish, how did I want to present my pasta? It's in my head. Just make sure I had all my ingredients and mise en place, ready to
Yeah,
go,
of course.
and then just do one. And then if my assistants was, if I tasked them to plate, then they knew what to do. So I had full trust in them, replicating what I had done. And so that's the way I normally work. Depending on, as a private chef, sometimes you show up and you forget ingredients,
Oh, dude,
so
it's
it's like,
happened to me.
shit, what the hell do you do?
Hmm.
You got to think out, just out of your ass, like pull something out. And we're having to recreate, the plating style because now we have one less thing or something different that we incorporate. So um, it constantly evolves. But everything that I have on my menu, it's been on there for like 5 years now. So keep it the same for the most part. 'Cause I'm never cooking for the same person twice. So it's always someone new. It's not like you're coming to the restaurant and
Hmm.
something's
Hmm.
changing. So it's and I keep it approachable. I'm not one of those micro type guys where everything's just like one thing on the plate and then you just kind of paint with sauces or whatever.
Yeah.
I am not that guy. They're paying for X amount of food. And I'm always, I feel like I almost overdo it sometimes
Oh, I feel you on that.
on
Yeah.
plates. But that's if I were to be paying an X amount and having a chef, I would want a food for later on after I
Of
left and got
course.
drunk and come back and eat a little bit more. So if I overserve you, it's just my style.
For sure.
So again, plating, of course, is the person's style of what they like, how they like to present themselves to to the person that about to devour their creation, and then just put your best foot forward, man, and do the best you can. Not everyone is artistic
Hmm.
in a way that they're gonna plate their stuff. Some
Yeah.
people, they do it by just imitating others. Some do it because they love to go above and beyond, in creation. So it's like taking consideration that we were talking about our first season, who our favorite chefs were or are, and I said Massimo, and you see this guy create some things like there's a dish he does with uh, Parmigiano Reggiano, where it's like you have a foam, you have a dehydrated, you have a powder, you have all this. It's one cheese on one plate with different textures. His plating is like mind blowing, and it's cool. Would I
Hmm.
do that? No, probably not. For many reasons, time, prep. And of course you're in and out. Part of being a private chef, as from being a private chef and being a chef in the kitchen, is you're there not only to create an amazing experience for the customer, through food, but you're also, there to engage with the customer. You're not in the back of the house.
Mm-mm.
You're doing everything up front. Sometimes they're sitting in front of you, so conversation. There's no way in hell that you can provide, an all day experience. So you could for the right money, right price,
Mm-hmm.
and then still, end up making a decent living. So plating, it's one of those things that it's personal to everyone, but for me, I tackle it in a very, simple way. So whatever looks good to me, and I hope that the person that I'm cooking for enjoys that. So, how about you? I mean, what does it?
I think that I have one rule, and that is the rule of like, if it's on the plate, there has to be a reason for it.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't want some people like over garnish things. I feel like it's just so much. It's like, dude, but like, I don't want to eat that much garnish. You
Totally.
know?
Totally.
Like, for me, it has to have the balance.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't add anything to the dish, like, I just don't want it on there.
Mhm.
I would just assume not put it. Because I want overall, I'm looking for the dish to really create that experience or create like a complete thought, you could say, or a complete not where it's like, oh, we have this one thing over here and there's this one thing over here and they kind of don't make sense together, but they're here because they look good together.
Right.
But then if it doesn't eat well,
Right.
then to me
it doesn't pair well with the whatever it is that you're eating.
then to me it's like, well, why?
Mhm.
Because it looked. So I guess I lean more towards taste than
Visual.
per se. But I'm also, I'm never, how do I put it? I'll always try new things too. So if
Right.
like if even if I don't think something go like in my mind, if I'm like, well, there's no way that could go together, but then you could change my mind.
Yeah.
I could try it and maybe it does change my mind.
Right.
You know.
So you wouldn't try it prior because you just never liked the ingredient. You would think because I learned in the food industry. As soon as I got into the food industry, that people eat with their eyes first. Before even putting anything in their mouth. If you're shopping in a grocery store, what's the first thing you do? You're looking at boxes. You're looking at things, and if it looks good, you're gonna buy it. It's the same thing when it comes to your table. If it looks good, chances are it's gonna be good. Yes, I agree with you on if it doesn't have a purpose on the plate, it shouldn't probably be on the plate, except that if it looks good and makes the plate look a little bit more enticing, it
Maybe.
could go either way. I don't know. I mean, like for me, I hate when they put an edible flower.
Okay.
Uh,
I didn't want to like call it out.
That's okay. It's okay.
But-
It's like that's my thing. I was like, you get this, beautiful like flower, and it's like, oh, okay.
Are you gonna eat it though?
Yeah, I mean it's edible, and then you put it in cocktails, and it's like, yeah. Now, from the picture point of view, yeah, I can understand why it looks beautiful. It probably sells, but I wouldn't do it. Not this chef. I'm not gonna put an edible flower unless it's a microgreen that has a certain flavor aspect to it that goes along with like a sunflower, like a microgreen. It has a nice earthy, flavor to it that goes well with certain, soups and so forth.
Yeah, some of those microgreens have great flavor.
Oh man, just the cantaloupe. Have you ever had the cantaloupe?
Oh, it's slightly sweet.
Yeah,
it's
and it
really
has
good.
literally the cantaloupe essence to it. So I mean, in certain fruit salads, it works really well. So those are things that, but like a full blown.
But it fits, that's what I'm
Totally.
saying. It fits
Totally.
for certain things.
Right. So, I mean, anyway, so my thing is, it's got to look delicious,
For sure.
so it doesn't, and there's easy ways to making something look delicious without having to overstyle a product. So, a nice demi-glace on the steak, just the way it's coated can make it look super sexy without having anything else on the plate or on the board. You can shoot a picture like that, and it's like, fuck, it looks,
Yeah.
I want to eat that. You cut it in half. That's all you need to do. Sometimes it's just the way you present it, right? Without having to overstyle it. It's cut it in a certain way and lay it out on the plate. That's also another great way to plate without having to put a shitload of stuff on the plate,
Right.
So
I also feel like these days, like with social media and like everything that's online, you see so much like there's just so much food stuff on there, and so I feel like even like the amateur home cook now is like becoming like really good, at plating, and
Or at least yeah,
yeah, it appears that way.
you're right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's like some, you know, housewives on TikTok that are,
Mm-hmm.
they have these huge followings and they're making all these, crazy things out of their home kitchens,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, wow, dude, this is really stepping the game up
Like,
here.
I want to hire that
Yeah.
person, right? And that's, I mean, that's the what you're trying to go for, right? You're trying to sell yourself through an image.
Right.
So an image tells 1,000 words or more, right? So it's you got to put your best foot forward if it is truly you taking that image and that's truly your work. I see nothing wrong with that, except that when it comes down to recreating something in real life, it's like,
Mhm.
are you really, 'cause you can make something look good without it being truly great,
Oh yeah, for sure.
or even good at that matter. But it's hard. It's hard. It's one of those touchy subjects because I am also a food and product photographer, and one of the biggest things in doing something like that is styling when it comes to food. So you can be a great chef and not put any effort into the plating, and you can still make it look great. But you can also just be a person at home that likes to cook and go online and take an image like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
cooking, let's say, a lasagna, and how do I make this lasagna look like it's coming out of some fancy tortilla,
Yeah.
and you want this, and I want my followers to like it like hundreds and thousands of times. So they go and look at another picture, they try to recreate it the best they can, and it could get the same amount of views and likes or not, but it's easy to fool someone.
Mhm. Mhm.
So unless you have that history of someone like we do, and be able to repeat it and be consistent with what we do, then it's a little bit easy. It's harder to really take that person seriously.
Well, it goes back to like what you were saying. You were like, people like if they like visually they eat like with their eyes first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with this whole food culture online, it's like I've never tried any of these dishes that I'm seeing
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram, but wow, I can imagine what they taste like, but maybe it doesn't taste that way, you don't know,
You don't. Yeah.
but they've sold an image, so there's a whole art to that now too,
Mm-hmm.
food styling on these platforms, where these people probably never even cook for anybody else in their family, but they've made it a career online to cook dishes every day and post them and
Yeah.
get people
To buy in,
to
and
buy
then
in.
and once you do that, you build a following so big that they start paying you, yes,
Yeah.
for the bargain. And you're not, not really.
I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
Then good for
If you can
them.
pull it off,
If you can pull it off, if you
more
never
power
had
to
the blood, sweat, and tears of cooking for other people day in and day out,
right. It's a really touchy subject for me because, I know people that is influencers.
Mm-hmm.
Influencers are one of those, and a lot of them are my friends, and a lot of them do what we're doing, and so it's like, do I support what they do? Yeah, I mean, they're putting the effort into it. Is it what it truly seems to be? I don't know.
I don't know. This
We probably won't ever
perception
know,
and
man,
reality.
because like, right,
Yeah.
perception is a big deal, man.
But you know what a lot of those housewives don't have?
What's that?
Tattoos.
They're getting there, man. But yeah,
Not like us chefs, I remember back in the day, it was like maybe it was just like a thing, it was like the outcast people from society that
right.
got a job working in a kitchen because
Or you went to jail and you got one in jail,
yeah,
right?
you got one in jail,
At
and then
the
it became like a
teardrop.
thing, Now we have food tattoos, and it's
Mhm.
part of the persona, When was your last tattoo, chef?
When only 6 months ago, and so it's the first one was because of my son wanted to get one. Carlos had just graduated and he wanted to get one, which is on my right wrist. We have a matching one, which is it's a bike spoke with a compass. He's a park ranger, so and he rides a lot of bike, road bike. So he thought, he wanted that one to be his first. Of course, he got a skateboard on his finger, on the side of his finger as well.
That's cool.
But I remember going and getting it with him. That was probably one of the coolest things that I did. Prior to that, yeah, I wanted one, but it's like, I don't, I'm not gonna spend money on. I'm really cautious with, what I want to spend my money on. I really gotta love it
For sure.
or really know that I'm gonna use it or that I'm gonna be making money off of it.
Yeah.
In order for me to spend something on myself.
Well, it's funny how tattoos tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ones you actually commit to.
Right.
Just like a lot of dishes can tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. That you're able to do that with Carlos. And actually, now that I'm seeing yours, it's because I know him, so I'm like totally putting two and two together. I'm like, oh yeah, he has that. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
But now, it used to be kind of unacceptable to have like tattoos in a workplace or whatever, but it seems like the kitchen was always okay,
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just kind of like,
it's mainstream.
It's mainstream, dude. Yeah, it's totally mainstream.
Like when you were younger, how old were you when you had your first tattoo?
Oh, dude, too younger than I should have been. Let's put it that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, was it tell me, man.
16.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
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 I mean,
where was it? Could you see it?
Well, it's on this arm over here.
Okay.
But all those tattoos are old and they're beat up and they tell stories, but I don't know. Those tell stories in cursive. Put it that way. No, I remember like just trading like stuff for tattoos, growing up, and then like I had to and then once I was firm in my career and I was like, I'm going to be a chef, I'm going to get some chef tattoos. And then I like forked out like some real money for some of them. But yeah, no, I think it's funny how nobody thinks twice. Like, oh, it's like chefs like have tattoos. It's like a thing. Right. It's like a real subculture thing now.
Yeah. When
which I think adds to the art an element of the whole idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah. I was hesitant about getting more, but then it's like they have to have meaning to me. They just can't be, I'm a chef. I love food, but do I need food tattoos? No. I mean, I have birds because, they remind me of my daughters, so that's why I get them, just because it triggers a memory or triggers,
For sure.
So I thought, am I going to get this? It's like, no, I'm just hold off. I was walking around the other day and I saw some beautiful koi, and we have some kois at the bar here at 7064. It's like such a beautiful fish,
it really is.
And I was like, oh, I need a koi, but do I really need it? And it's like,
yeah.
So I think a lot before just going and getting one, not random.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't think so much about some of the ones I have. And now
you're probably drunk or.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was just growing up, in the area of Texas where I grew up in. It's just in the valley. It's an interesting place, it's a lot of debauchery that happens down there. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of amateur tattoo artists.
Oh, totally, man. I've seen a lot of bad ones. Nephew has one, and I was like, what the fuck were you thinking, man?
Yeah,
dude. It was like, can you have it fixed? I goes, dude, I don't think so. First of all, too young to go get it fixed anywhere professionally. So, oh, man.
Yeah, but more recently, I think my last tattoos that I got were in Bryan, at this place called Arsenal Tattoo Shop, by a girl named Audrey. She's phenomenal. She's got great artwork, and she's really well known and stuff like that. But definitely paid good money for them. And I mean, she's still got some more work to do on them. So at some point, I have to go track her down and get my art finished. But I just think it's cool, like just the idea of art and food, how, there's the music element that you always hear in the kitchen. Then there's the plating aspect of creating something. Then there's the soul aspect of the creation that goes into actually cooking and the alchemy of flavors that you put together. And then, just an outward expression of the art on our skin as tattoos,
Right.
And I guess in some ways it speaks to like some of like, it's a dangerous environment, you know.
Yeah, it is. I never saw it that way, but we're in the trenches, right? Maybe you are. I am not really, to be honest with you. Yeah, I cook at really nice kitchens, and it's always something different. And the people I cook for are almost all of them, 99.99% are good people. you know.
We don't want to talk about that other .01.
Yeah, I know. No, they're the .01 is all. They're also great people, but they're in the business.
So, photography.
Uh huh.
That is something I noticed that you are very passionate about too.
I do. Yeah, I love photography. It's another way to express yourself, and it's like food, and it's cooking food is instant gratification. And we talked about this already, where you can tell if the person truly loves your food and stuff. Photography, capturing something at that moment is forever as well, especially if you're going to post it on the internet. Once it's online, it's on there forever, right? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter, how good or bad it is, it's going to be on there. But photography for me is really an art form a medium that I love to use. And I want to say also like 99% of the stuff that I shoot is natural light because I love the image, the depth that it has. And yeah, working with food is what I love to do when working with photography because it does not complain, it doesn't talk back. It's easy to manipulate, in different ways, either through the prepping, styling, the cooking. Then on top of that, the post production of whatever it is that you're editing. I've done things that are more artsy. I've done things that are looks like home cooked meal ready to devour. I've done things where it's like the prepping, on the prepping side, or just was last week I shot some bread from the Bread Man up in Houston. That company. So first of all, you have to have beautiful subject,
mm-hmm.
or whether it be food or a product like the knives that I use and I shoot with.
And the cast iron.
The cast iron, of course. I mean, the product has to be good. The food has to be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you go shopping. Everything's handpicked. It's got to look sexy. And I like to use the term "sexy," man, because it's like
it sells.
It's sex is one of those things that everyone
mm-hmm.
wants a
mm-hmm.
bit of, and
mm-hmm.
so if you can translate that to food and an image, then it's great. How you drip that sauce, how you lay it over, the food, so yeah, images for me, raw images are great. I love to just stick in that realm of food and product. I hate even just doing live photography production of or headshots or because everyone wants to look better than what they actually are,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And sometimes it could be work. Sometimes it's easy, but I've never done something that it's just been snap the picture and leave it. There's always room for improvement. In my my point of view from the way I work with images. So so if you look at my social media page or my website, everything that is posted is something that I've shot. I don't we talked about this earlier. I hate stock images.
Oh, dude, stock photos.
I hate that's my pet peeve. And people that use them, I can't judge them because either they don't have the knowledge of picking up a cell phone and clicking under a good light. They can't really, they don't know how to do it well, or they just don't think it's good enough, so they have to fall to stock images and spend that money, or I don't want to, well, let's say steal an image online. I've seen a couple people do that in my day. So I think that it should be personal, like especially in the food industry. If you're going to be cooking something, producing something, shoot what you're going to sell. Don't post something else and then not recreate what you posted. So yeah, images are everything. I mean, your social media is really organic, and what I love about that is that's how you No stock, first of all.
No, no, we don't do any
So,
stock. Yeah,
but organic sells. I mean,
yeah,
so by organic, it's like raw, what it is. I'm in the kitchen. This is me. This is my counter. There's no,
yeah, dude.
this is the way it is. And it's hard for me to do that because light, it's like, oh, it's orange light, or the light is too white, so too blue, So I gotta wait for the right timing of day to shoot certain things sometimes, depending on what I'm shooting. So yeah, I mean, photography is one of my passions. It's not my passion. It's not like biggest passion, and I say that simply because I can't make as much money as I can making food. So if it was easier than making food, and it made more money, it'd probably be we'd be having a different conversation. But I'd rather cook food and work around people that I've never met before and have a more interesting, job day to day than just being stuck in my studio shooting
For sure.
products over and over, man. But I mean, I don't see like you snapping pictures and posting things every day. I don't do it anymore. I used to more. Now it's just like once a month. I should do it more. But you don't.
We don't hesitate. We just take a picture and whatever.
Post it.
Just post it. Yeah. I think there's an element, especially with the younger generation that, because now everybody has a high definition camera in their pocket, and it used to be something that you had to, like spend a lot of money on a good camera and really, and I think the element of even spending money on a really good camera leads you to take a lot of care in every picture you take, or from an artistic side, you think a little bit more about it because you're heavily invested into it. When now it's like these cameras are just attached to us all the time. So it's almost like we're not, I don't want to say it cheapens it, but it definitely makes it more accessible, and it makes it more like a little bit more of a
Spit it out.
I don't want to say a factory, but it just makes it more of like it's more day to day.
Right. Well, I mean, going back to the influencer that does, almost a lot of it through their cell phones. I could be wrong. They could probably be carrying. I know a lot of them that carry, a nice DSLR with them everywhere they go, and they shoot everything. But there's really good quality stuff, especially in low light, coming from the camera. And now you have all these filters. You have these settings on your cameras where you can create a lot of depth. Some of it doesn't look as great. If you do a portrait, like, I see people all the time taking pictures of a wine glass at a winery, and it's like portrait style on their iPhone, and half of it looks like it's fucked up because of the setting. It doesn't truly capture. It gives you the illusion, right, when you see it in the beginning, and then as an artist or photographer, you go start looking at this glass, and it's missing, like the edge of the glass is gone, or the handle, because it didn't know how to truly capture it, and so you can kind of, I don't know, lose the whole thing that you're trying to do in the first place. So you come off looking cheap and like an amateur instead of looking
like you knew what you were doing.
Exactly.
Yes.
But you can get great images off your cell phone, especially video. And to me, it works, especially with video. It works a lot nicer when you just pick it up and put a story out, because I do more stories than what I do post, because I do my day-to-day on stories, and then I'll create an image, a great image for a post, because I know that a post is going to be there a lot longer. And so I just want to put, again, my best foot forward whenever you do that.
Of course.
And so, but everybody has a style. Everyone has, a story they want to tell, and they have to tell it however the best they can, and hope, they have a good return on that.
For sure. No, I think it definitely has changed the game of food and art. It's created a whole new form of art and food content, and no, I think it's really cool, and I really respect the way you put a lot of thought and care into all the pictures you take and that you post. It's really cool because you do have a lot of people that just, are doing just stock photo. They're trying to seem this way, but it's like a stock photo here, a stock photo there, maybe like a photo that is actually something they really did.
Yeah.
And it just, I think from my perspective, with what we do, it's more like building an audience or just being like relatable to people's like everyday lives.
I think what I get most out of it is by doing it myself and posting what I do, is the credibility of it all.
For sure.
I feel that's more important to me than anything, when posting. Is it going to make you credible? Is it going to make people trust, that you are who you are and you're producing this?
For sure.
If you can be credible at what you do, then I feel like you're going to be able to be more successful. You'll have a better return on investment.
Definitely.
Your ROI, man, it's going to be higher because of what you put out there. So if you can do that, then you have a better chance of being successful at what you do, either in the food industry, music, whatever the hell you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, I mean, how do you feel that the images and stuff? How do you feel they contribute to the bottom line, like your sales, your bookings, your things? Do you think like if you were to do an analytic study on where everything's coming from, would you say a certain percentage comes from word of mouth, a certain percentage comes from just a random Google search or social media through through images?
Yeah, I guess for us it's all social media because we don't have a website right now. I had a lot of pain and heartache developing a website back home in College Station. Well, I shouldn't say home, this is home now, but so yeah, no, I mean, for us now, it's all social media. And, I think I couldn't give you like an exact like number or anything like that, but I think by creating like I guess from my, in the way that we do that style of art would be just creating a brand and creating an image of relatability. And it's like, oh, I want to book this dude because he looks relatable and he's a family man and we like the way like he cooked a pizza in his kitchen at home, even though it's not some high end thing or something like that. It's more about, for us, I guess, creating the story and the relatability, through that art and through those images.
Yeah, I think a story is very important in any business. Like, how did you get here? Why is it that you do this? Why do you want to cook in my house? Why should I pay you this much for something I could do myself? Right? These are things that you have to have a story. I feel like images for me have worked to getting 80% of the gigs that I get. And if I had to do it all over again, man, it'd be exactly the same way, through and Instagram, Facebook, mostly Instagram, because Instagram is more driven, visually with images and than Facebook. But every time you post an image, and the trick is to produce something that will capture an audience without making them think that you're selling something.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. And that's the hard part to do, right? If you can figure that thing out, and then of course add a human element to it, and helps out 100 times.
Exactly.
And by that I mean a person in the background, just simply your hand in the image, things like that.
Right.
Will drive up the interaction and and the feedback that you get from people. And just because you have likes doesn't mean that you can get the sale or the interaction that you want out of them, but it does help. Those are things that help in an image for me. So I know that if I weren't able to do everything that I do for myself and for the business, I know I wouldn't be as successful as I've come to get. So images are super important, in what we do. And so I recommend whoever's listening to, really put a lot of thought into it. And if you can't afford to hire somebody to do it, really just invest in either a nice camera or invest in the time to learn, through YouTube
Yeah.
how to style a picture and how to use natural light instead of these, ring lights or LED lights, because lighting is everything, especially in food. It's like women stand by a window in the mornings to do a lot of their makeup with a mirror there, because natural light, the light is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So 90% of a successful image is going to be light. The rest, it's going to be just the subject and how you make that image look in that light.
Dang, dude. Great knowledge.
You learn through trial and error, brother.
Trial and error.
Yeah, I've fucked a lot of images up, man.
Well, and if you don't have the money, just make the time investment of just stopping and taking, if you're at an event or whatever you're doing, it's just the time. It's just like that really crucial time investment of just snapping a few on your phone, your phone of whatever you're cooking, to make yourself relatable,
Yeah. And I mean, one more thing before I forget, it's like, if you don't have the knowledge and if you don't, want to deal with it, there are tons of people that you can hire. I mean, kids in high school, and I mean, that are doing it for pennies on the dollar, man, where they just want to get their artwork out there, and you can hire them. Like, sometimes they'll do it for free, man. I mean, it's one of those barter things, like cooking a meal for, 10 or whatever amount you think it's worth, getting a guy to shoot on location, for you. So those are the things that to consider, for anybody that in our industry, that just want to have a collection of whatever it is, to post on their social media or wherever, however they want to use it for marketing purposes. Hire somebody, and don't hesitate, because a picture is forever.
Nice. So we have a recipe of the week.
What is it this
Guess
time?
what?
No.
The art of the grilled cheese.
Oh, love it. I love a good grilled cheese, man.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things. It's like it's so simple, but you can get like as fancy as you want, or you can just strip it down as much as you want to, and still make it kind of
government cheese, brother.
Dude, nothing melts like American.
I know, man. This is true.
And nothing.
So, okay. So simple white bread and some Velveeta.
We'll make it up to you. You can always reach out to your friend Josh. I don't know. He's got some great bread.
Oh, I know, man. I'm gonna hit him up. Also, now
now you, and also you got this bread guy coming, or sending you stuff. The bread man. So dude,
I made some focaccia. He made the focaccia, and I made some pizza the other day. He's cut it in half. Some nice marinara sauce.
Pretty good.
It was fucking delicious. I mean, I have to admit that I had 3 little squares. I wasn't supposed to have much of it, so I didn't eat much that night. I ate a bowl of watermelon for dinner, but it was so worth it.
It was so worth
it. So yeah, I'm gonna hit up Josh for sure, man. Are you gonna hit up Josh too?
Oh, dude, I guess now, yeah. Pressure's on.
Maybe I'll do a couple versions. Maybe I'll do like a Wonder Bread version and a Josh version. Just so we can.
Like a bougie version, and just like like your 3 a.m. drunk version.
Heck
or something.
Yeah, those are the best. Okay, what's your secret in making yours?
My secret is well, you're gonna have to kind of tune in and find out, but it is a condiment.
Oh my god,
it's a condiment.
So I guess what would be great is if you shoot that picture. I'll shoot it, but we'll have that condiment in the image so people know what you're using.
Exactly.
That'd be badass.
That sounds fun.
All right.
Well, thanks again for having me over, Chef. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. And mi casa es tu casa.
It's been a lot of fun.
All the time, brother.
Thanks again for listening. This is The Art of Food.
All right. Ciao.